Hello and Merry Christmas to you. If you're coming in after the fact or you're watching this post chat, all you got to do is set those numbers to 0, and that is when the story will begin. Until then, we just chit chat with all of the fans and hang out and generally have a wonderful, wonderful old time. That's how we do things around these parts. I did start accidentally early, which is good because I actually had clothes on. You know, that can be a dicey part of things. And chat. Oh, hello, everybody. Catching up a little bit here. We had a few things break down on us after the accidental start, but that's the way things go. That's the way that it goes. See if this is working now. Hello. Hellos. There we go. I guess I sent you guys multiple hellos. Fabulous. If you are on the YouTube, thank you, Brian. Appreciate that. John Bivens, what's up? Yeah, Cobalt, I do not like wearing clothes either. Although I do find that some form of undergarment is beneficial for, accidentally walking into corners, or if you do any woodworking or any cooking that involves hot oil splashing. It's good. Ian, you say stupid sound not working, but I've got Brian on YouTube says sound is working. So Ian, if you don't hear the sound, Edward Rocco, hello. If you don't hear the sound, that might be you. How about them Lions, David Lamb? Exactamundo. It's fantastic. What a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Once again, if you're coming in after the fact, you're watching the post show. If you don't want to hear me jibber jab with all these wonderful, fantastic people in the chat room, and you should be wanting to chat with them in the chat room, you should join us every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, and be part of this wonderful buffet of personalities that we have. Although this is a Monday when I'm recording this, but don't pay any attention to the man behind the corner because Wednesday is Christmas. And we also don't want to be streaming on Christmas Eve because we want people to do their thing. So Christine says, YouTube working. Fantastic. Fantastico. Oh my God, you guys, this might be the most wholesome Christmas story ever told. I'm not going to lie to you. The finale to Santa No Pants, the warm, fuzzy feelings, the sense of belonging, the family, you guys, and just the general joy is exceptional. I was thinking about this earlier today. Say, hey, Tyler Miller, sometimes people, say that I write some disturbing things. And that's, I won't argue with you. It's possible I do write some disturbing things. But the funniest part of it to me is I write disturbing things because one of my biggest influence is Stephen King. And my mom is the one who got me turned on to Stephen King's work. And she has read a bunch of Stephen King. She might stop like 10, 15 years ago. Before that, she read absolutely everything. And Ariel Girl is picking up our pups from the pet groomer. So we may have to stop in the middle of the story if it makes too much noise. So my mom is the one who got me reading heavily, bought me a book anytime I wanted, made sure I was always reading, took me to the library, got me writing heavily, and Stephen Kinging on the regular. And now when I write disturbing stuff, it is not for her and not for her at all. And my deeply religious family, who may look at Christmas as a different holiday than I look at Christmas, although I love Christmas, love my family, love seeing them when I can see them. I can see where people might hear this particular Christmas story and think, that's some messed up stuff, son. Text has not gone out about podcasting starting. All right, let me take a quick look at that. I should have gone out. Oh, Dawn, are you talking about the text? Well, of course you're talking about the text. The one that goes out and let's see. Should be able to get that out right now. If it's not, I got postscript SMS marketing. See, this is the world we live in. It's crazy. I can do all this from the phone. I can send a text to 1,000 people. We're over 1,000 now. We're over 1,000 on the main text number, which is really cool. It's kind of a cool number. Of course, the higher the number goes and the number of people subscribe to the text, the more the text costs. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword. But, you know, it's a good problem to have. Definitely a good problem to have. Let's take a look. Multiple burns in bad places really fast. Yeah, you do not. I've cooked trying to impress a certain person. I may have cooked without being fully clothed, and I would not recommend that. Ever, not ever, not never, not one time. Dashboard, go to messaging, campaigns. Yeah, this sucker went out. 323 slices. Christine, I don't know why you didn't get it, but it did go out. So we're in good shape there, looks like. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Dawn says she heard her name. Must be your twin. Past Euphoria podcast. Hello. Greeting to you. Longtime reader person. Fantastic. We're glad to have you. Past Euphoria podcast. I don't know what your podcast is about, but just throw in a little description in the chat right there. Let everybody know what your podcast is all about. Might as well see if people are interesting. Also, I don't think this is working, but if you are watching this on TikTok, I don't think I set it up right, but what we do is I read to you live every Wednesday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. You're probably only seeing like a little third of the screen because I got to figure out how to go live on Twitch. It says it's live, but I'm not entirely sure. But we'll just let it roll. We'll let it roll. Jason Reed, hey-oh! Steve the Iceberg, Ricky, we're in the house. Kim Hansen, missed last week, might bug out and catch up later. That's probably a good idea, Kim. Come back in about a half an hour, and we will go from there. Okay, go back to main. Let's have a sippy poo. Now my phone's making noises. Don't know what's happening. But we got to turn that off. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Twitch Live, that is not working. Interesting. Stream Manager and Twitch Live. There's so much shit to learn with all of this. It's just bonkers, man. There's tons and tons of stuff going on. This is Nick. Just another geek followed me or Greek followed me. Nick, if you are, give us a chat if you're there. No, looks like this is the old one. Okay. Yep. All kinds of troubles, but that's the way. That's technology. That's the way it goes. Oh, yep. Nick is there. Oh, that's my phone talking to me. Hold on. There's a million different places. Well, you know what? Screw all that noise. Let's get into the Christmas cheer. Let me cheer all of you lovely people on with this wholesome, delightful, good old-fashioned Midwestern Christmas time story. Here we go. Double checking that we got sound. We've got sound, and we are rolling. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, junkies of all ages, here we go with Santa No Pants. Hello, Daryl Harris. Santa No Pants, Part 3. Let's ride. Hello there, visitor. Sleigh bells ring. Are you listening? No, I'm not going to regale you with that old poem or the Santa No Pants version. I just kind of like saying it. Speaking of Santa No Pants, though, he paid a visit to the old Deerdorf home. You know the one, way out on North County Road. That family has owned the land around there for quite some time. They made sure no one else could buy land around them or build around them. Sometimes it's when you need your neighbors the most that you regret not having them. Laura Deerdorf and her friend Jen returned to the house to pick up old Zeke, the fartiest lab in northern Michigan. When they got there, though, they ran smack into Dale McGovern and Nikki Makowski, who were robbing the Deerdorf home. Dale used to date Laura, you see, so he knew where the spare key was. If Dale and Ricky had just talked to Laura, who was scared silly, they might have been able to leave all the stuff and just walk away. Unfortunately, Dale used a Colt 1911 pistol, owned by Laura's father, until Dale took it out of the gun safe to knock Jen out cold. After he did that, well, Old Santa No Pants came down the chimney with fear, as the old rhyme goes. Now Laura, Ricky, and Dale stand face to face with an abomination forcibly birthed from retribution most violent and foul. Laura and Ricky are literally caught holding the bag. Those bags being pillowcases weighed down with Laura's mother's jewelry. Jennifer is down for the count. Only old Zeke had the smarts to get out of there before it was too late. And now, visitor, the conclusion of Santa No Pants. Dale Philip McGovern, have you been a good boy? A voice like high-speed metal grinding old wood, the deep whine of rust crushing trees into landscaping. Eyes like lumps of burning coal, eyebrows of gray smoke. A gray beard tangled with splinters, smeared with rot from the pasty underside of fallen, disintegrated leaves revealed by spring's melting snow. White trimmed coat and hat, shredded in long flaps that moved like drunk snakes, filthy and covered with splinters and sawdust. The abomination wore peeling, flaking black leather gloves. Left hand flexed into a fist. Pinky and ring finger gone from the right hand. Only half the index finger remained. Pointer finger torn free at the base knuckle. Ragged, rotting stump of a thumb framed by dangling shreds of leather. Santa No Pants. For real. Backlit by tongues of angry flame flickering up and out of the fireplace that tickled the toes of 4 Christmas stockings hung there with care. Mom, Dad, Laura, and Zeke. The roaring fire's dance reflected from dozens of multi-hued ornaments hanging on the tinsel wrap tree in the corner, moving in a reflective, synchronized jig upon the dozens of multi-hued ornaments. When the chimney first vomited forth this holiday horror like a dog puking up rancid roadkill, Laura hadn't been able to move, hadn't been able to answer her body's primitive call to run. Something fixed her to the floor as if her feet were frozen in the Bordeaux's splintered burgundy ice. That spell had passed, she knew, yet still she could not move. Now, her fear-spiked body simply would not obey. Laura knew Ricky and Dale stayed put for the same reason. Yuletide blasphemy locked them fast. Entrails dangling, black muck dripping to the carpet, Santa No Pants moved to the music of sizzling pine sap and popping cinders. He floated closer to Dale. The bag you hold with pilfered goods so grand deserves a visit from a coal-bearing hand. You think it holds your treasures, your trinkets, your lies, but open it wide, Dale, and hear hell's cries. Laura heard a sound that made her shake her head no, before she even understood what that sound was. The wails and shrieks of children. Look inside, Dale Philip McGovern, the monstrosity said. Look inside. Dale's pillowcase began to lurch and buck, punched from within by tortured spirits. He looked at the bag he held, stared at it for a moment. Then Dale raised Mr. Deerdorf's pistol. Then Dale raised Daddy's pistol and pointed it at Santa No Pants. I ain't looking inside jack shit, Dale said, and pulled the trigger again and again and again. Puffs of wood, clumps of dirt, bursts of lint clouded up from Santa's frayed red and white jacket. 1 puff, 2 puffs, 3 puffs, 4. Nothing happened. Santa No Pants began to laugh. A jolly laugh. the fingers of two gloved hands and their combined 7 fingers spread across the prodigious curve of his stomach as the laughter made it shake like a bowl full of jelly. The pillowcase, heaving like the belly of a woman pregnant with violent demons that kicked a dozen feet in a dozen different directions, swung upward of its own accord, rested free from Dale's hand. It turned inside out, scattering jewelry and bullets and 2 more pistols across the room, their metal surfaces sparkling in the firelight as they quietly scattered across leather furniture and the carpeted floor. "I'll be good," Dale said, his voice more that of a 10-year-old dressed in pajamas than the tall, heavy man-child he was. I'll... That was all Dale could muster before words failed him. He stared at the inside-out pillowcase, thrashing this way and that. One corner of it brushed across Santa's burning coal eyes. The thin fabric caught fire. The burning, writhing pillowcase shot up into the log house's peaked ceiling, then flashed down like a flaming comet, driving into Dale's mouth. He gagged. He gasped as the flesh of his face cracked and blistered, split and smoked. Like a burning eel sliding into a too small hole, the pillowcase forced its way into Dale's mouth as he stumbled in place, arms flailing, body convulsing. The gun slipped from his hand, hit the carpet with the same dull thud as the other things he had stolen. Laura heard Ricky screaming. Laura heard herself screaming. Laura heard old Zeke howling in fear. And Laura heard Santa No Pants laughing, a ho-ho-ho rising up from hell's deepest fissures. The sounds melded together into a corrosive carol. Dale began to swell, to turn red even as he smoldered from within, smoke spraying from his ears, his nostrils, his eyes. He began to shift, to transform, his neck and head narrowing, his waist and hips widening, his kicking legs and whipping arms shrinking inward like long, deflating balloons. As Dale's mouth widened, as it stretched, it slackened. Santa No Pants reached out his 2.5-fingered hand and grabbed Dale's thinning neck. The mangled, leather-clad fingers cinched tight, yanking Dale toward Santa No Pants, only he wasn't Dale anymore. He was a sack of blood-red flesh, with arms dangling like empty gloves, with legs dangling like empty stockings made of human skin, with 2 strange, flat eyes that blinked over and over again, eyes filled with terror and confusion. He was naughty. Santa No Pants slung the Dale bag over his shoulder. He won't be naughty anymore. Gray, filthy, hamburgered entrails clumped and dangling, the floating demon turned in place, turned toward Ricky. Burning coal eyes sent sputtering smoke upward toward the ceiling's peak. Half his demonic face lit by the fireplace's pulsing flame, Santa No Pants grinned. Ho, 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 the monstrosity said. Ricky Madeline Mikowski, what's in that sack that you hold? Icy realization slapped Ricky. The pillowcase. She still held the goddamn pillowcase. It's not mine, she said, a lie slipping out as easily as the thousands of others she told over the years. She relaxed her hand, let the jewelry-heavy pillowcase thump upon the carpeted floor. It's not mine. The demon's coal eyes burned brighter, streamed up more smoke, thicker smoke. Santa No Pants smiled anew. Spastic firelight glinted off teeth made of scratched, rusted steel, teeth streaked with blood and the unholy corrosion of composing human soul. Spastic firelight glinted off teeth made of scratched, rusted steel, teeth streaked with blood and the unholy corrosion of decomposing human souls. I know when you've been naughty, Santa No Pants said. Stealing is bad, and you have been a bad girl. Tears came, fast and hot, unstoppable. Ricky knew she was going to die here. No, not die. Transformed into something horrible, like the Dale bag that blinked with terrified, stretched out eyes. This was the end. Because, in truth, Ricky knew that she was a bad girl. She lied to people, manipulated them. She had come here to steal from people who had never hurt her, never done anything to her. The Dale bag dangled, blinked, silently begging for help, even as the cries of the damned leaked from within. Somehow, Ricky understood what those sounds were. Lamentations so distant and hopeless and dire that she knew, then and there, that her grandmother hadn't told her everything about the Jesus Holy Childhood School. Students in prison there had lost far more than just their lives. And now, Ricky would join them. Something grabbed her hand. Something grabbed her hand, fast and firm and strong. Ricky started to yank away, to lurch away, before she realized the hand was soft. Soft and warm. The hand of a girl who had never baled hay, had never split wood, had never shoveled snow, had never put in a hard day's work in her entire privileged life. Laura Deerdorf's hand. She's not lying, Laura said, her syllables blending together into a single panic-drenched word teetering on the edge of insanity. The bag is mine. I mean, it's my mom's. It's my family. Dale stole it. Ricky's with me and Jennifer. That's Jennifer on the floor. Dale hit her with the gun, and that's the gun on the carpet right there. Ricky's with us. She tried to stop Dale, and Jennifer needs help. Just go away. Ricky isn't naughty. Get out of here. Go away. Laura's hand squeezed harder. Ricky squeezed back. All sense of understanding gone, burned away in the heat whirling from the fireplace. The monster hovered before them, rising slightly, lowering slightly, the dangling intestines that touched the carpet compressing slightly, expanding slightly. Laura Margaret Samantha Deerdorf, the thing said. You are not on the list. Leave us. Ricky's legs weakened, threatened to give out altogether. Laura would leave. Ricky would go in Santa's bag, the bag made from Dale McGovern's soul. Still holding Ricky's hand, Laura took a half step forward, toward the abomination. No, Laura said. I won't leave. Get out. Amidst the gut-piercing fear, another sensation blossomed. Confusion. Laura could leave, yet she stayed. In the face of this madness, Laura Deerdorf stood fast. Ricky and Laura weren't enemies, but they also weren't friends. They weren't the kind of people who would fight for each other, die for each other. And yet, Laura stayed. A beneficiary of colonizers, but not a colonizer herself. A descendant of evil, but not evil herself. Santa No Pants shrugged one shoulder, hefting the Dale bag higher, making the empty skin gloves and dangling skin stockings waver and wiggle. The mangled fingers. Had Santa No Pants, or the man he had once been, lost those fingers in the wood chipper like he had lost his legs, his hips? The wood chipper that Ricky's grandmother and her friends had shoved this pedophile into feet first? Laura, Margaret, Samantha Deerdorf, lying is bad, Santa No Pants said. Lying is naughty. Perhaps you are on the list after all. The Dale bag's contents thrashed and spun. The screams from within grew angrier, grew hungrier. And then came a new sound, one heard over the roaring fire, over the cacophony of lost souls. The growl of a dog. A big dog. Santa No Pants turned sharply, intestines spinning away, slapping against Ricky and Laura, smearing them with unholy ichor. There, in front of the prone, unmoving Jennifer, stood 100 pounds of overweight, angry hunting dog. Teeth bared, yellow and white hackles raised high. The wind of a killing winter storm suddenly filled the room, rattling the framed pictures, shuddering the Christmas tree, ripping at ornaments and tinsel, jingling unseen sleigh bells somewhere in the house, toppling lamps, scattering knickknacks, chilling, then drying Ricky's tears upon her cheeks. The hellstorm in the fireplace blazed brighter, larger, fed by the gale. Flame tentacles ripped out, wrapped around Santa No Pants, tightened on him, and violently hauled him in. A blinding burst of sparks. The chimney throat once again swelled as the abomination rose up through it. The inside wind stopped. Then it, too, died down. The stocking-marked Dad fell from the fireplace. In the silence that followed, Ricky heard Laura's halting breath. Zeke's tongue lolled out. He sat, normally at first, then his weight shifted to one hip. Ricky was still alive. She wasn't a goddamn bag made of skin. She wasn't a wailing, lost soul. Laura ran to Zeke, threw her arms around the dog's thick neck. Zeke's tail swished across the carpet. She released the dog, grabbed her friend's limp hand. Jen, can you hear me? Ricky hurried over, knelt next to Zeke and Laura. Jennifer twitched once, then her eyes fluttered half open. What happened? Groggy, she looked up at Laura, then at Ricky. You? What? Did that guy hit me? Laura caressed Jennifer's forehead. He's gone, Laura said. She glanced at Ricky. Right? An instant, unspoken bond. Maybe someday Laura would learn what happened here, but not this day. He's gone, Ricky said. Dale was gone, but where? Ricky looked at the dog. The dog looked at her, big brown eyes full of instant love. Had Santa No Pants feared Zeke? Or had something else entirely happened? Ricky was on the naughty list. No question about that. But not this sweet-faced old lab. Perhaps something so evil could not exist in the presence of something so nice. Ricky gripped the dog's warm, heavy ears, squooshed them in her fingers. Dale was right about one thing, she said. Old Zeke is a good boy. Zeke's tail swished. Laura reached out, scratched under his chin. He sure is. Laura knew, too, somehow, that Zeke had saved them both, had saved all three of them. The tail stopped swishing. Old Zeke, the 100-pound shambling yellow lab, who must be made of sugar, spice, and everything nice, let out a long, squeaking fart. It stank like rotting birds mixed with fresh asphalt. It burned Ricky's nose. And she didn't care. Neither did Laura, who leaned in and kissed Zeke's head. "He's the best boy," she said. "The best." Towny Ted again. You may doubt the veracity of what you just heard, and I don't take that personally or hold it against you. In this neck of the woods, visitor, strange things happen, eh? Like other places in America, that's truer than ever during the holidays. What is Santa No Pants? Is he a demon? A spirit of vengeance? Is he a ghost doomed to walk the Bordeaux, gathering unfortunate souls only on Christmas Eve? Well, I mean, not walking, eh? You know what I mean. To be honest, I don't know what he is. At one point, he was a man who got what was coming to him. That should have been the end of it, I suspect. Justice should have prevailed. But in this world, much like the next, much like all worlds, I suppose, justice is an abstract thought, defined only by those left standing. I'd like to tell you Santa No Pants is the only one of his kind, and while that's true, it's what people smarter than me might call inaccurate. Because we got all kinds around here, and ain't many of them good. Still, at the end of the day, Laura Deardorff survived. So did Ricky Mikowski. So did old Zeke, at least for a little while longer. So did Jennifer. What's her last name, you might be asking? To tell you the truth, I don't know. And it doesn't really matter, eh? Because her family ain't from Parrish. As such, she's not one of the threads that make up the fabric of this place. Fabric, the color of the dark swamp. The color of the Bordeaux. I'm happy you spent part of the season with us. Next Christmas, come back to Parrish. And remember, visitor, things are different here. Happy holidays to you and yours. That concludes my heartwarming Christmas story. I might have made a mistake. Nope, I did it right. I did it right. I did it right. I did it right. Okay. Baby girl, come on up. It's Christmas time. It's Christmas. Oh, baby, bring the hat. My head's cold. Yes, David, that was an incredibly wholesome story. As wholesome gets. Let's see. Thank you, Jen. Glad you enjoyed that. Come on, I can hear the jingle for that song. Richard Bennett says, whoop, damn, I almost spilled water all over everything. A cheerful Christmas song. It is very, very cheerful. Christmas story, excuse me. Past Euphoria podcast says, that was dope. Thank you. Now, Past Euphoria, I don't know, did you listen to episode 1 and 2? I'm very interested. Oh, shit, babe, I forgot your chair.
That's okay, I got it. You did.
Give it, zip it, flip it, zap it up, flip it, rub it down. Whoa! Oh, no. Do you have the Santa hat downstairs?
You want the big one? Can you wear it over your...
Yeah.
All right,
I can wear it under.
Okay, I'll go get it. It's going to be hot AF.
She just said I'm hot AF. What do you guys want? What can I do? There's nothing I can do. Nothing much I can do about this. Okay. Let's get A's cam set up. Pardon me. Dara Heller says, Daryl Harris says, huddle around the Christmas tree in abject fear. I got the gaze. Every freaking episode. I'm like, because you with projecting and voice acting and things, you sort of need to like draw in deeper breaths. But I get excited about the story, and sometimes I don't get the full deep breath in, and so it sort of gets stuck. It gives me the gas. Nothing I can do. It's a little embarrassing, but what are you gonna do? What's really embarrassing is I accidentally turned on the broadcast earlier today. Some people in the chat room right now saw that, and thank goodness I had clothes on, and yes, thank goodness. Oh, here we go. Hold on, everybody. Baby, your microphone is on. Boop.
We'll see how long that lasts.
We'll see how long this lasts.
So hot.
It's Christmas time in the city.
Shooby-doo, dooby-doo.
Shooby-doo, dooby-doo. It's almost here, Christmas Day.
Look, we're like the whole week festive.
Yeah. Oh, because you got the New Year's?
I do.
That
Hello,
looks
friends.
good. Hello, everybody. Hey, everybody, look who's here.
Y'all.
I said I might have almost went live with good thing I had clothes on, and Jen Hathorn said, "Slices after dark."
Yeah. Well, what he's not telling you, but I will, is after he does this test, and this week that test, as he just mentioned, went live. And about 25 minutes after that, I walked into his office on my way to take a shower, no pants. And realized it when I realized that Slice's screens were up. I mean, what can you do? I was like, oh, and like backed out of the room. And he was like, never do that. I accidentally went live today. So who knows? Maybe I went live today too. I introduced myself to the internet. Hopefully not, but we'll see.
Merry Christmas, Rob Tinarella. Merry Christmas to everybody. We got Christmas coming up in a couple days. Kwanzaa coming up in I forget the number. I think it's 2 days after Christmas, and then
Hanukkah this year is
2 days after Christmas.
Nope, Hanukkah moves with the Jewish calendar. So this year Hanukkah starts on Christmas Eve.
Okay,
on Christmas evening. So on Christmas Day, but when the sun goes down.
Did you bring up any beverages for us for this evening, darling?
I did, in the most ridiculous Scotch glass
Let's go.
ever.
Let's see it. Oh my God, it's like literally like a gallon of Scotch. Oh no, it's only a half gallon. It's only, look at this.
I mean, there's a big ice cube in there, and
Put your glass up so I can see the sparklies.
Yay.
There we go. Yay! Cheers, doll.
Cheers, dear.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Cobalt says, I got scared. I thought I missed the live read. Let me just do a quick check-in here.
Cobalt, it was lovely to meet you this week by email.
Okay, we got a good bunch. Now, again, if you're tuning into this to see it live and you're a football fan, sorry you missed the football game, but you probably have a football game on in the background or something like that. It should be good to go. Okay, let's do our housekeeping.
Sounds good.
I did mention this last week, but I will mention this again for those of you who missed it. I was having a tough time fitting all of the presents into the Dale skin bag that is the Crypt Book 2. So I have now decided that the Crypt Book 2 is now Crypt Book 2 and 3, which means that Crypt Book 2 and 3 are now in second draft form. There's a really logical break point, and I debated making it 2 books to begin with, but I was trying to just cram a whole bunch of action, into the story. And no, actually, there is some action in the story.
Oh,
so,
go on.
Yeah, there's a little heat. Little heat going down.
Brown chicken, brown cow.
And the velvet couch that is the PV James Keeling. Oh, what's going on?
Brown chicken,
brown chicken, brown cow. Anyway, so we are now in second draft on 2 Crypt books, which means I should be able to deliver at least book 2 to Athon in short order, and then book 3 in a little bit longer order, because we won't talk about this much. This might be a whole nother episode. I've done a shitty job as Athon's partner. They're the publisher, And they signed me to do this Crypt series. Like, we're going to crank these books out, boom, 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 because that's how they get the algorithm going, and that's how they get readers, and that's how they get excitement. And then yours truly has made them wait almost a year and a half, 2 years for book 2. So we got to try and do right by those guys. Anyways, so there we are in the Crypt, about 40% of the way through Crypt book 2. Sunday, December 22nd, Santa No Pants Part 2 went live in the feed. Is this right? That's not right. Tuesday, December 24th, Deep Cuts 29. Wait, was it?
No, that's right. It's so that
December 17th. Oh, these are just out of order.
Right.
Okay.
Because that's
Tuesday, December 17th. We next time if we ever do it, just date them.
Okay.
Organism. Deep Cuts 29. The rules for what makes a Christmas movie went live, which is germane to our conversation today. If you guys missed that, and you want to know what officially makes a Christmas movie, go back and listen. It's in your podcast feed. Go get it, which you can subscribe to at scottsigler.com/subscribe. Tuesday, December 24th, Deep Cuts 30, the George Schraub stocking stuffer interview, which was so much fun. Such a great dude.
So much fun.
We'll go live. You guys should listen to that. And then Sunday, December 29th, tonight's episode goes live in the podcast feed. Feel free to share all 3 episodes of Santa No Pants with friends, family.
I mean, it is a cheery holiday
grandmas,
story.
Nannies, a grandpa, anybody who likes a good, wholesome story. Good, wholesome story.
And very Christmassy.
That was nanny, as in that's what my nephews and nieces call my mom. They call her nanny. But if you have a nanny, they can read it too. And then,
but not to the children.
Sunday,
not to the children.
December 31st, tonight's Deep Cuts will go live in the feed. Wednesday, January 1st, which I believe is our next episode, right?
It is. It's next Wednesday. Yeah.
Slay Season 3 begins live. And we discussed character choices on Deep Cuts. So the Deep Cuts content will be character choices. And we're kicking off Slay Season 3, guys. We're going to rock it out, and hopefully you will enjoy that. There we go.
All right. Oops, sorry. Is it my turn?
No, not yet.
Okay.
I'm going to have another sippy poo before we... I got the gas.
It has been a heck of a day here at the, what is this? The PUV empty set? No,
Yeah.
It can't be the Lair of Doom anymore?
PUV empty set.
Whew. Y'all, it's been a day. Everything that could go wrong did go wrong. Normally, I don't know if you guys know this. Is any of my family in the chat? They know this. But anyway, my parents live about an hour away from us, 45 minutes, an hour away from us. And once a week, once every other week, I go help them with things around the house, grocery shopping, things like that. But that's almost always on Thursdays. And this week we had to go before Christmas, so I had to go today. And then there was grooming, dog grooming. And then last week our van died, and we had to have our van in the shop. And so the fact that I am sitting here talking to you before, this is the last thing that I have to do before the holidays. Now my holiday shopping is done for cooking tomorrow, all the things. I am always happy to hang out with you guys. I have never been happier than today, probably. Actually, that's probably not true. There are a handful of you guys who have been with us for the last 4 years since the pandemic started. And we went through a whole lot in that time. And I'm glad that I was doing that with you guys, too.
Let's do the YouTube thing. If you're watching on YouTube, and there are a bunch of you, make sure you like it. Make sure you're hitting subscribe and click that bell if that crap still works. Because everything you do there helps the podcast. And if you are listening to us after the fact on one of the podcast feeds, make sure you go to Apple Podcast or Spotify, like it. And now Spotify has comments too. Leave a comment and let people know that you are enjoying the show. Darling, you ready to get rolling?
Yeah, except I have to say my brother, Jude, is in the chat room on Facebook. I was just talking about the fam. I love you. Here I am.
I find you moderately tolerable, Jude. So, yeah. I mean, that's pretty good. That ain't bad.
I mean, that's pretty much just a step, just half a step below how he feels about me. 2
of the 3 houses of governments are still working, and that's just fine. Okay. Ready, babe?
I am.
Okay, let's go. We're going to rock and roll here.
Did you already do the reset and all the things and jazz and stuff? And did you take out the transitions?
Well, I tried to fix that.
You muted the transitions. Great.
Yeah, we're only live on these 2 channels.
Sounds good.
Right his ear. Okay. Let's go ahead and hit record.
Fingers crossed, Steve.
Baby, give me some information. That means talk. I'm sorry. I couldn't use those
sorry.
words. Yeah.
Here's some information. The highest peak in the universe is blah, blah, blah. I don't know.
Don't know?
No.
Actually, it's a mountain on Jupiter. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
I made that shit up.
Oh, and then my mom is in the chat room.
Hey!
If you're on Facebook, Jude C. Stenson and Marianne Radowski are my brother and my mom, respectively. I'm so glad you guys are joining us for Christmas Eve, and I love you both very much.
Thank Jen Hathorn. That was the line I was looking for. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. I love that. That's my favorite part of that movie. Okay, here we go. Guys, time for Deep Cuts. And as usual, no story content in this. You've gotten all the story you're going to get until Slay Season 3 begins. So let's get into it. Baby, you ready to roll?
I am ready to roll.
Okay, here we go. Oh, the end of the year feels like it's obligation after obligation, a never-ending list of things I gotta do. By the time New Year's Eve rolls around, I want to be zoning out at home, drinking scotch, and watching movies.
Oh, well, FDO, do I have a plan for you? Well, FDO, do I have a list for you? 10 movies that take place on New Year's Eve.
Yeah, okay, but are they all stuff full of like fake holiday cheer, or are they really New Year's Eve movies?
This list is all New Year's all the time, and we'll discuss right after this break.
Beautiful. All right, now we're ready to roll. Okay, ready to get into it?
I am ready to get into it. Past Euphoria, signs point to no, but I will make sure that we ask him that question during a Q&A episode, which happens periodically here.
Okay, got it. I have answers for that question. You might not like them.
Now, or do you want to
No.
we can answer him privately and then, or her privately. And then.
Recluse Mage asking if we have a criteria for this. I believe that is implied. Do we have a criterion? Do we have what was the other word? Shit.
It is not your criterion.
Not a nomenclature, not a metric, not a...
We'll get into it in a sec.
All right, here we go. Let's get into it in a second. You know what? With the head is perfectly toasty, but it's so interesting. Just that little extra layer makes all the sound change and shit. So I'm going to take it off.
Yeah, that's why I gave you the elf ears.
Oh. What? Okay. So, there's the elf on the shelf.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And we're thinking about doing this for next year. There's the elf on the shelf. Then there's all the permutations of the different elves on the shelves and all the rhymey things. That's what we were thinking. If you guys are interested, is we'll make a little beanbag version of me, and it goes on your toilet tank. So for the holiday season, you can have Scott on the pot. I think this is a genius idea. I believe we will sell as many as 3 Scotts on the pots. Ready?
I am.
Okay. Oh, sorry, Steve. We recorded all that.
Yeah. Just got all this out, too. Steve, if you guys don't know, Steve the Iceberg Rickyberg is our long-suffering, absolutely fantastic audio engineer, and he has to deal with all of this business in the daylight tomorrow.
Here we go. Ready, baby?
Uh-huh.
Welcome to Deep Cuts, the bonus episode of the Scott Sigler Slices Fiction Podcast, where a sci-fi author and an audiobook narrator discuss things and stuff in the world of fiction and pop culture in the holiday season. I am Scott Sigler, sci-fi horror author known far and wide as the future Dark Overlord.
And I'm A.B. Sigler. I did it again. Not even drinking. And I'm A.B. Sigler, publishing.
Relax.
And I am A.B. Sigler, publisher at Empty Set Entertainment and audiobook narrator. On this Deep Cuts, we're discussing 10 New Year's Eve movies you can enjoy to sign off 2024.
As a reminder, this is a bonus episode. If you're listening to this podcast, this is not part of any particular tale. We'd love to have you listen to this with us and join us, but you don't need it for a story. Let's get into it, girl.
Yeah, so this list is 10 movies that take place on New Year's Eve.
Okay.
It is not a top 10. It is not the only 10, but it is 10 movies that meet that one criteria that take place on New Year's Eve, and that if you absolutely need to watch, you can find them somewhere.
Good. All right, let's begin. Let's switch over to our other screen, and I believe we have number 1 ready to roll.
Yeah, we do. So number 1, this is a bit of a surprise. This is Ocean's 11. If this movie poster makes you think, gosh, Ocean's 11 was a remake, the answer is it absolutely was. The first Ocean's 11 was filmed in 1960.
Not the remake of Ocean's 11. Mm-hmm. Not Ocean's 12. Not Ocean's 13, which should be buried and never unearthed ever again. Not Ocean's 8, not any permutations. The original Rat Pack Ocean's 11. And you're saying this whole thing takes place on New Year's Eve.
This version takes place on New Year's Eve. Let me give you a little bit of background. The description for Ocean's 11 1960 is a gang of World War II 82nd Airborne veterans are recruited by Danny Ocean, played by Frank Sinatra, and Jimmy Foster, played by Peter Lawford, to rob 5 different Las Vegas casinos: the Sahara, the Riviera, the Desert Inn, the Sands, and the Flamingo.
Real quick, interrupt. Are all those gone? Those might all be gone now.
The Sahara is revamped. The Riviera is gone. The Desert Inn is gone. The Sands is gone.
God,
and the Flamingo is revamped, I think. At least the last time I was in Vegas.
You know, for being a hotbed of sin and debauchery and crushing gambling debt, I really feel like those places are part of the American tapestry, and they should have found a way to preserve them. I also don't think we should ever knock down sports stadiums. They should just be renovated and revised so that generations of people can go to the same place that their forebears went to. But I am a romantic. I am a romantic.
Oh, I think part of the problem with that idea for both stadiums and hotels is that the footprint of those spaces is so big and also so expensive to just leave standing as a monument.
No, I mean, just repair the goddamn thing. Patch it up, throw some Bondo on there, you know what I mean? And then just keep it going. Let's keep it going. Anyways.
Give me a second because my phone just died. My watch just died, so I have to do this. There we go. All right.
Mary Garrett says her mom loved Dean Martin. Mary, I think everybody's mom loved Dean Martin.
I mean, I loved Dean Martin.
I think Dean Martin could have probably repopulated the entire planet based on the number of women who absolutely adored Dean Martin. And they would have all been delightful, wonderful, smiling, happy, caring children. Now, if Frank repopulated the world, that's probably a different story.
Yeah,
probably a different story.
He was a man of his time, but he was also kind of a spectacular man. For his time.
We'll do a whole Frank Sinatra episode someday. He's a huge inspiration to me, a huge influence on me. All right, what do we got?
So finishing up the Ocean's 11 details, they plan to rob those 5 casinos on New Year's Eve. They plan an elaborate heist with the precision of a military operation. The George Clooney version, as we mentioned, doesn't keep the New Year's Eve target date, but is also quite a lot of fun. And both of those are rentable on Amazon Prime.
Fantastic. Are we moving on to number 2?
We are moving on to number 2.
Past Euphoria podcast in the chat room says, I love Dean Martin, Blue Eyes, Jimmy Stewart, and Humphrey Bogart. Best actors back then. Michael Moore, Flamingo is the only one standing per se. Sahara was bought, renamed, and sold, and renamed back to Sahara. So that is like the Cleveland Browns of the Vegas casino world.
And our friend Michael Moore, who is actually chatting on YouTube, lives in Las Vegas or lives near Las Vegas, so he's able to tell us that actively.
Great.
So number 2, we have.
So I don't want to give up on my dream that, if we had, here's the dream. If A and I say we had kids, I would like someday to be able to go to Vegas with my grandchildren and go to the Flamingo and get my walker and come in and be like, that table right there, that's where your grandfather lost our first house. Had to sign over the mortgage. I got a ton of free drinks and the egg rolls were fantastic. Don't gamble, kid. Let's go to the blackjack table. Like I think that'd be sensational.
All right, you ready for number 2?
Oh my God, I'm so ready for number 2. Hold on. We got to go to, oops. There we go. Number 2 is.
Am I talking or are you showing? There we go.
No.
Number 2.
New Year's Evil.
We are, Scott is a horror author, so we have to add a few horrible moments in here. New Year's Evil, a film from 1980 starring no one you will have ever heard of, ever. And I tried to find anybody.
And I don't think I'm shitting on people by laughing. We watch a lot of movies, and I know a lot of actors, and for a movie to come out that we don't know anybody gives you some indication this was probably not a blockbuster. That's what I'm saying.
But I will read you what it's about because it is watchable this season. During a New Year's Eve celebration, a Los Angeles disc jockey receives a phone call saying that when New Year's strikes midnight in each time zone, someone will be murdered. And she will be the last one. Lonely women.
I didn't catch that part before. That's great. Okay.
Yeah. So this is a gentleman caller who was calling into a female DJ in Los Angeles, and she will be the last one to die. So lonely women wanting to celebrate New Year's Eve become easy prey for a maniacal murderer whose New Year's Eve resolution is to kill women at every stroke of midnight. It can be watched on Prime for free. Not going to lie. Okay. Not sure you need to watch it. And our new friend, Past Euphoria Podcast, has seen it. It's B-rated.
You're saying you don't know if you want to watch it. It depends on two factors. Number one, how much eggnog has been consumed. Number two, is weed legal in your state? 2 years. Oh, you got some left over. Apparently, eggnog never goes bad. Oh, how much champagne? How much champagne do you have? We have, I don't want to talk about this. We have friends who keep eggnog every year and use the same eggnog starter pack. No. And I don't.
None of that is true.
Nope, don't start.
None of that is true.
Don't defend them. Don't defend them.
But that's not true.
She's lying. So
what we have.
Wait, I got to point this out. Number one, I did a graphic for this show that involved the movie posters from all the shows, all the movies, kind of schmozzed together. And here's the craziest thing I'm thinking of. New Year's Evil has a fucking masked killer. He's got a mask that he wears to all the killers because that's how you did things in the 80s. All the killers had masks. And on the fucking movie poster, you can see who the goddamn killer is.
Yeah.
Second question. How does this motherfucker get around? You got a private jet? You can't cover 4 time zones in one midnight. No cars were that fast then. Well, he's like Santa. He would burn up on air pressure.
Well, maybe he's like Santa's evil twin or something.
Ooh.
I mean, he has like a sled of some sort. I don't really know. But to go back, never make an eggnog starter. What he's talking about is we have friends who make Alton Brown's 2-month eggnog, matured eggnog recipe every year, I mean. And it is really delicious and very, very strong. Anyhow.
Okay, let's go.
We are moving on, going from New Year's Evil
to... Oh, what a beautiful segue. Way to go. I have a theory.
I had to.
I have a theory that many, if not all of the characters in the Charlie Brown universe are serial killers. I think they're all serial killers, including Snoopy. Woodstock, not so sure. They're all serial killers.
Pigpen is not.
Who live in their own fantasy world, their delusional world where they are not brutal serial killers, right? Except they all have a shared hallucination brought on by the evil that they have done. And in that shared hallucination, all of these characters exist in this giant Venn diagram where they are all innocent children struggling through day-to-day travails and turmoils of kids, because as soon as they wake up, motherfucker gotta die.
So for everybody listening and not watching, movie number 3 is Happy New Year, Charlie Brown. And that's important to note with what Scott is talking about. But as he was saying that, I instantly realized the same could be true for the beloved TV series Cheers. They could have their lives
That's a goddamn
outside.
good point. Well, did Cheers always exist in the bar? Eventually, they started to get out of the bar, right?
No, they
all shots
like
from the
you
bar?
saw like the street outside of the bar, but as far as I remember, they don't really do much outside of the bar.
Now, you Utes listening might not know who Woody is. I'm sure everybody's going to assume Woody is the worst serial killer because he played a serial killer. Woody Harrelson played a serial killer.
California.
There's zero question. It's Rhea Perlman. Rhea Perlman's body count. And that's the people dead, not the people she slept with. Although the people she slept with is probably also significant.
Same.
Rhea Perlman, without a doubt, has killed more people than anyone else on Cheers.
I do love the folks in our chat room talking about Scott's idea that every Peanuts character, including everyone in Happy New Year, Charlie Brown, is a serial killer. We see Jennifer Hathorn in the YouTube chat room says, sure, but Snoopy, he sleeps on the roof like a gargoyle, obviously a killer.
Yeah,
right?
That's a weird thing. And of course, the most prolific serial killer in the Charlie Brown universe has got to be Pigpen. But the most...
How dare you, that poor put-upon young man with all that trauma.
The most vicious one. You want to talk about trauma? Wait,
isn't that Peppermint Patty because she's the redhead, the worst one?
Nope. The worst one by far is Charlie Brown. Charlie Brown has the most social anxiety, the biggest awkwardness, all these twisted plots going on inside his head all the time. Charlie Brown is the guy who cuts off a finger and then seals it up and brings you back to health before he cuts off the next finger.
There is zero chance that's true. And do you know why I know?
Why?
Because every single time he believed that Lucy would let him kick the football. Spoiler alert.
No. That's what I'm talking about. Charlie Brown always trying to kick the football is the Venn diagram overlap metaphor for Charlie Brown genuinely believing that each time he takes a life, that's the last one. He thinks he is fixed. He is solved. It's
like Dexter. He fixes himself.
A little bit like Dexter. When he does the crime, when he kills the person, Charlie Brown is compelled to murder, compelled to kill, compelled to torture, right? But then when he actually when the life expires, Charlie Brown gets that giant rush of endorphins that serial killers get. And Charlie Brown goes, that was the last one. That's what the whole kicking the football is all about. It's Charlie Brown going, that was the last time I do this.
Listen, if anybody from the Schultz estate is listening...
Oh, Jesus, please
This
sue
is
me.
imagined.
Please fucking sue me. I would love that publicity like no... Schultz estate. Listen, I am going to write a story about Charlie Brown. Wait,
you
I
already did.
I already did. I already wrote You're a Goddamn Fool, Charlie Brown. Good luck finding that one, you guys. That was
and
early days.
we actually meant to put that in a short story collection and then did not want that kind of heat. So before we move on, I will very briefly tell you that Happy New Year, Charlie Brown came out in 1985, and what it is actually about is Charlie Brown is obliged to attend Peppermint Patty's New Year's Eve party, even though he has yet to finish the novel, or he has to finish the novel War and Peace. This film itself isn't horror, but having to finish War and Peace in one night surely is. It is watchable on Apple TV+.
Great. Okay. Let's see. Recluse Mage says, Schultz hometown is in my city. And Jen Hathorn, thank you, says, don't sue my FDO, except if they can't win the lawsuit, but they get publicity. It's kind of a toss-up. So, baby, I believe we're up to number 4 now, right? I did promise everyone in the social media promo for this that number 6 would shock them. I did a BuzzFeed. 10 New Year's Eve movies that you will love, and number 6 will shock you. Let's go.
All right.
Let's
go.
go.
Number 4 is a movie called Strange Days. Came out in 1995.
Those are some attractive humans. I don't think
and
I've seen this movie.
Famous, really?
I don't think I've seen Strange Days.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think so. Is that Lisa
that
Bonet?
Is Angela Bassett.
Oh,
Ralph Fiennes.
Oh my God.
And Juliette Lewis.
Ooh, well, Angela Bassett. You had me at Angela Bassett.
And you guys don't know this.
I love me some Angela Bassett, dog.
Steve, you can cut this little note to you out. I'm going to tell you this little anecdote, and then I'm going to go back into what this title is.
Okay.
This movie, on New Year's Eve, Scott and I have a plan to finish the writing part of the day, where he writes in the morning, and then veg out on the couch and watch movies. And this might have to be one of them.
Let's do it.
So,
although pretty much I've decided we're going to watch all. So we're up to 4 now?
We're on number 4 now.
It's a long day, dude. I want to watch all these movies.
We don't have that time.
Okay, let's go.
So restarting, number 4 is Strange Days. Came out in 1995, and here's the little biography, or the little description. Former policeman Lenny Nero, played by Ralph Fiennes, has moved into a more lucrative trade, the illegal sale of virtual reality-like recordings that allow users to experience the emotions and past experiences of other people. While the bootlegs typically contain tawdry incidents, Neo is shocked when he receives one showing a murder. He enlists a friend, bodyguard Mace, played by Angela Bassett, to help find the killer, and the two soon stumble upon a vast conspiracy involving the police force Nero once worked for. Sorry, I ran out of breath.
You got the gears.
This is available on HBO Max right now, exclusively there, and we've included this movie at the recommendation of Empty Set's own John Vizcarra.
John Vizcarra, I don't have his graphic queued up, but I love we have a John Vizcarra graphic. All right, let's go. Jen Hathorn says, the most scary tech of the 80s.
For sure.
Real quick, how does Strange Days hold up with the technology that we have right now in the world of deepfakes? Deepfake video is very good. Deepfake voice is, everybody can say, they're like, I know a deepfake voice. When I hear it, I can hear it in my ears. Like, no, you cannot hear it. The original AI voices I am hearing now through various channels that you might not be familiar with they are absolutely indiscernible from reality.
So I will say it has been 85,000 years since I saw this.
Okay.
However, the difference is there is no.
Steve, we're pausing. Where's that coming from? Is that an alarm?
What is coming?
You don't hear it? Take off your headphone.
Oh. This is my watch that was done. Sorry about that.
Over in the file cabinet, Pumpkin. And Steve, we're coming back in. Let's go.
So what I'll tell you is these deep fakes aren't deep fakes. They're filmed for the movie. So they're great. They didn't use any, they just, they made that.
I meant within the milieu of the movie itself.
It's seamless. In the milieu of the movie itself, it's absolutely seamless. I'm not saying this is a perfect movie. In fact, I'm saying it's not a perfect movie, but I do think it is kind of a fun take on this. And in the milieu of the movie, it's seamless.
Your watch is killing me, dog.
I know.
Can you turn the volume off on that?
Well,
like the
sure
switchy
can.
thing? Thanks.
Okay.
Let's pick up. Steve, do the best you can.
Sorry about all that.
Steve,
Today is the worst timeline day.
She's awesome. We're just going to let this ride. Ready to move on 5 or we still
Not yet, since we're already broken. No. I just said not yet, since we're already broke.
Heard you.
Yeah. You don't have a watch on you, right? My watch died.
It's technically, this is in my pocket. My phone's under my Dale bag because I don't want it to go off. My watch. Real quick, since we've taken a break, this is only for the live people, Steve, only for the live people. I had such a hard time reading this story because it's a lot of talk about flesh and a bag and all other things. And you guys who've been watching for a while understand how difficult it has been for my fantastic spouse to deal with my brain, which
very prim spouse
always is making the dirty joke. And now I'm trying to write a story about literally Santa's bag, which is made out of a guy named Dale. All I want to know is in the chat room, just let me know how many of you are like, he's about to make a dick joke. And that's what I would like to know. Ready to go when you are, babe.
So we're going to, I'm going to snap back in and finish saying, so if you haven't seen Strange Days, because all that was buzzing.
Got it.
And I'm going to restart the timer. So I'm going to say that, then I'm going to say, we'll be right back.
Yep. Well, we'll go at 5, right? So it's cool. All right, go ahead.
You guys at home, this is how the sausage is made. So here we go. So I will say that Strange Days, not a perfect movie, but is absolutely a fun movie to watch. And we will take a short break and be right back. If you're willing, listen through. That will help us out, and we'll see you just in a second.
Before we jump back in, Steve, I'm literally talking about the difficulty of writing a story that involves Santa's bag and a guy named Dale's skin. And Steve comes in and goes, sausage. I don't know if that's intentional or not.
It was for how the sausage is made.
Okay.
So, yeah. Listen, I know at least one of you, the past Euphoria podcast. Like, this is how it always is. So join us every week. We're like normally on Wednesdays.
Week. But wait, you listen to one of these, then listen to the podcast. Steve makes this shit sound like fucking butter on whole wheat toast, bro. He does a good job.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Ready?
Like lobster biscuits. What Steve does is amazing. So we're coming back in.
I can't wait to see that, baby. It sounds good. Do we have another movie?
Oh, yeah. We have a handful more. Let's go to number 5.
Number 5.
Number 5. Now, listen, you guys. I love this movie.
Is that right?
I love this movie.
Okay, cool.
Because I am a theater kid. And this is a movie full of British stage actors and like theater kid. It's theater kid nirvana. It's The Big Chill, but set in England, essentially. I will read you the description. This is Peter's Friends. It came out in 1992. And here's the description. 6 former college friends with 2 new friends gather for a New Year's Eve weekend reunion at a large English countryside manor after 10 years to reminisce about the good times now long gone. Directed by Kenneth Branagh, written by Rita Rudner and starring Branagh, Hugh Laurie, House.
Love him.
Did you hear another one?
Just go.
Starring Kenneth Branagh, Hugh Laurie, Rita Rudner, Stephen Fry. Directed by Kenneth Branagh, written by Rita Rudner, and starring Branagh, Hugh Laurie, Stephen Fry, and Emma Thompson.
Wow, that's a hell of a lineup, dog.
It is. Now, I'm not saying it holds up. I'm just saying in my heart, I love this movie. I remember loving this movie. Loving
Have you seen it since then? Is this a multiple view for you?
The last time I saw it, the first time I went to England was in November of 1995. And I watched it so that I would be brushed up on my British acting royalty before I went. And that's the last time I saw it. So I have no idea if it holds up.
You've seen it twice then?
I've seen it probably 3 times.
3 times and like 95. So it's been 30 years since you've seen it.
Yeah.
I will watch this with you. It does not sound like my kind of movie, although I think Kenneth Branagh is great. I think Hugh Laurie's in-house Hugh Laurie was exceptional, like rare role. But yeah, go ahead.
I'll say this. If you want to watch a Kenneth Branagh film with me, you have 2 options. It's not this one. It can be Dead Alive, if that's available.
Okay.
Or...
That sounds like a horror movie.
It's a thriller.
Good enough. Good enough for me. Same shit.
Or you can watch the 4-hour and 12-minute long Hamlet.
Have seen it.
Oh, you have?
Not necessarily my cup of tea.
No,
the battle scenes are good.
Not.
The speech before the battle's solid.
I have it right downstairs.
There's a lot of fucking shit going on. A lot of shit going on.
On like 8 CDs, we could watch it.
No. All right. Let's go ahead. Let's move on. You know what? Let's just move on to the next before A gets in her cups and is like, baby, you gotta watch Hamlet with me, baby.
I'm not even drinking, dude.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
However, we will move on to movie number 6, which I would recommend to anybody if you can find it.
This is the one that will shock you. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
And that movie is 4 Rooms. I am shocked. Look at my face. Huh? I am shocked. This is a New Year's Eve movie? What?
Absolutely. This is 4 Rooms. It came out in 1995. And here's the description. 4 interlocking tales that take place in a fading hotel on New Year's Eve. Starring Tim Roth as the bellhop who ties the stories together. This cast is a who's who of the era's stars. Madonna, Ione Skye, Lily Taylor,
yes,
Jennifer Beals, Antonio Banderas.
Oh, the man.
Sorry, Antonio Banderas.
Hold on. Antonio Banderas. Good.
Salma Hayek.
Oh, Christ.
Quentin Tarantino.
The man.
Kathy Griffin.
Kathy
Griffin.
Is Kathy Griffin, yeah.
Marissa Tomei.
Ooh.
And even Bruce Willis.
Yes.
It is watchable on Amazon, Google, or Apple TV+.
It is. Okay, so I have seen this movie multiple times. The concept is
ridiculous.
For those of you listening at home, the concept of this movie is we're going to tell what are arguably 4 separate stories happening in one hotel. And the interlink of these 4 separate, violent, degraded stories of humanity in decline is shiny, happy, polished Tim Roth, who's there to do his job and try and make a new life for himself. And things go horribly south, but the point is, much like a Scott Sigler novel, you start following individual stories, and then eventually they all start to accrete into one massive new star that, when they are all together, will blaze with the light of 1,000 suns. And that is what this movie does. Quentin Tarantino is a massive influence on my work. Probably the single biggest influence on my work. It's probably him and Jack London are tied 1 and 2. Mm-hmm. So this movie, for all of its flaws, and don't get me wrong, it's got many, many, many flaws. When you look at the gestalt of this work and how it all comes together, it's a lot like watching a poor man's comedy version of Pulp Fiction.
Well, and I'll say it's actually more, yes, but it's also actually a little bit more like the Grindhouse movies, that Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez did together, because what it technically is one movie directed by 4 directors. So it is an anthology.
Yep. Oh, that's right.
Yeah. And okay. Tim Roth is the bellhop, and he goes through the whole hotel. But each room's information, each room's story is written by a different director. And the 4 directors are Quentin Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez. Quentin Tarantino, well-known, well-loved here. Robert Rodriguez, absolutely our people, right? El Mariachi, Desperado, Spy Kids, like he's a absolutely multi-generational talent. And then Allison Anders, who at that time, but also has gone on to quite a lot of an extensive sort of alt storytelling career.
Okay.
And Alexandre Rockwell. So they each write a room, the story of one room, and Tim Roth, as the hapless poor bellboy, has to tie them all together.
My God. I tell you what, the Antonio Banderas room is literally some of the greatest writing I've ever fucking seen in my life. Antonio Banderas, that's Salma Hayek too. Mm-hmm. First of all, side note, if you want to see 2 incredibly hot people at the peak of their hotness being into each other, because they're not only so hot, they're in love with how hot each other are and all the other aspects of being a human being, they adore each other. Antonio Banderas and Salma Hayek in that movie is spectacular because they've got 2 children.
Yeah.
And they are trying to still be the smoldering, smoking hotness that they both are, while they have like a fucking 10-year-old and an 8-year-old. It is so beautiful and spectacular. I love it. And those 2 actors are off the charts.
And I do have to say, as Scott mentioned, there are flaws. And some of those flaws are the language and the way we talked about the things that unfold in that movie, particularly the Banderas scene. We don't talk about those things anymore. We don't use the same language. And, people will call that political correctness, but it's actually just, acknowledging everybody's humanity and right to be human. But that's there, and that's not going to change. We can't change that. But it is not so egregious to me that I wouldn't say, I think as a movie-going experience as an anthology experience, which are very few and far between in a visual format, mm-hmm. I would recommend it, knowing that you go in and there are sort of dated language for sex workers, dated language for things like that. Not so insulting that I wouldn't recommend it.
That's a good point. Literally one of the funniest scenes to me, now that I think about it in the context of you, like, let's treat people as human beings, is, it's a little bit difficult. It's a little bit difficult. But if you watch 4 Rooms as a body comedy, that will help your perception. What's next, Pumpkin?
All right. We are, I'm ready when you are. Yeah, we are number 7.
You know what? You want to know something about me?
I do.
Tell them the name of the movie.
Number 7 is Assault on Precinct 13.
I also have never seen this complete movie from end to end. I've only seen clips and highlights. Lawrence motherfucking Fishburne. Ethan motherfucking Hawke.
Let me read the whole description.
Let's go.
This number 7 is Assault on Precinct 13. Came out in 2005. A police sergeant must rally the cops and prisoners together to protect themselves on New Year's Eve, just as corrupt policemen surround the station with the intent of killing all to keep their deception in the ranks. Written in part by John Carpenter,
Ooh.
Starring Lawrence Fishburne, Ethan Hawke,
Sweet.
Gabrielle Byrne,
Yes.
Drea De Matteo from The Sopranos,
Ooh.
Brian Dennehy,
Oh.
Maria Bello from The Closer.
Oh.
Junkies, wait for his reaction when I say this next one.
Okay, here we go.
John Leguizamo.
Oh! John Leguizamo's anything he's in, I'll watch in the drop of a hat.
And
he's the man.
And even Ja Rule.
Oh, well, you know what? I'll give a shot. I'll give Ja Rule. Ja's a multidisciplinary artist, man.
Yeah, kind of like Luda. Absolutely like Luda, right? Like
Luda
they
and the
both
Fast and
have
Furious
this.
Is just like ridiculous.
I mean, but there's so many. Like I think the Ices are both this way. Like there's so many who are so wildly talented that they can do this.
The Ices, I love it. I love it. Okay,
so this is widely available. Whatever you subscribe to, you can probably watch Assault on Precinct.
John Bivens in the chat room loved Assault. Let's see. Kyle Jacobson, like me, has never seen it beginning to end. David Lamb loves this movie.
This might actually be on our New Year's Eve list because this is fun and
Guys,
it's short.
Everybody watching live at home and you listening to the podcast too, we will post a list of these movies when we post the podcast. So you're going to need to go to scottsigler.com, find this podcast there. We will list all of the movies with A's, write-ups, and descriptions. And
the movie posters.
You really don't like me, do you?
No,
you have no idea how much work that takes to put up the movie posters too.
Oh, I was going to do it. I thought it would be easy, but maybe I'm wrong.
It's probably not easy, but we'll figure it out. And at the very least, you're going to see a list of these movies. Okay, let's go back to Ready, baby. What's the next one?
Number six.
That's a great.
Sorry.
Those of you at home are looking at the poster for Assault on Precinct 13. Fantastic movie poster.
Yeah.
Next movie.
Movie number 8 tonight is Poseidon from 2006.
I have not seen this one yet, only because the original The Poseidon Adventure is fucking Ernest Borgnine. You guys.
And Shelley
Winters. So those of you who know those two names, Ernest Borgnine and Shelley Winters, probably only know them as olds. Like Ernest Borgnine did amazing work in his 60s and his 70s, but it will blow your fucking mind. See Ernest Borgnine, late 30s, early 40s, just ripped to the gills. Like that is
Beast.
You are like, I saw that movie. I'm like, there's no way that's someone who looks like Ernest Borgnine. Ernest Borgnine never was that fucking much of a unit in the gym. There's no way. It's fantastic.
So Poseidon, 2006, is a remake of the Poseidon Adventure, which Scott was just talking about. But this one, just like Ocean's 11, this description of this movie, which includes the New Year's Eve thing, is for the 2006 version. After a huge tidal wave capsizes a luxury liner in the North Atlantic, individual survivors, including Josh Lucas, Kurt Russell, and Jacinda Barrett, band together and traverse a hazardous upside-down maze that they hope will take them to safety. As the wrecked vessel fills with water, the survivors must call on hidden strengths and skills to face the fight of their lives.
Mary Garrett in the chat room says, "Didn't Shelley Winters win an Oscar for this?"
I think so.
She did?
I think so.
Holy fuck! She's
for the written. We're not talking about this Poseidon. We're talking about the Poseidon Adventure.
Sorry,
from 1972.
I apologize, Steve. You can cut that if you need to. Yes, continue. Sorry, I have not yet seen this version of Poseidon, but the cast sounds amazing. But again, like a lot of people who just don't just love movies, you watch a movie and you're like, I feel like a different human being because I watch this. I must watch it again and again and again and experience all of this. I'm not sure I want to watch a remake of the Poseidon Adventure.
And you might not want to watch this one.
Ernest Borgnine just set the screen on fire. It's incredible.
So I'm gonna say this about this one.
Okay.
If you feel like Scott feels about the original Poseidon Adventure, this movie isn't as strong as that movie as a standalone story. It's a little frustrating. It's a little unrealistic in parts. It's still the rules for this list, whether it took place on New Year's Eve. I would still watch it. It's fun. It's fine. It's not terribly problematic. It is not the epic masterpiece because they only have one day to tell a story. Where in the Poseidon Adventure, that was a little bit of a longer development before drama hits, so to speak.
Got it. Okay. But it all takes place on New Year's Eve, which is the point of this pretty good podcast.
Most of it. I haven't seen it in a while, but I'm pretty sure most of it does.
Yeah, Roddy McDowell in the OG. Geez, we may have to do a whole episode just on the Roddy McDowell. Just a dog. Just a dog in that fight. He's crazy
just a
good.
King. Just an actor.
Phenomenal.
Such an impressive human being.
Such an impressive. Great career.
Now, speaking of something that was absolutely life-changing and I have seen more than once and I may or may not want to watch again.
Here we go. And boop. We're talking about, I've still, you know what, to be honest, those of you listening, the poster just came up for Fruitvale Station.
Number 9 is Fruitvale Station that came out in 2013.
Having lived in the Bay Area, San Francisco, at the time all of this was going on, I got to be honest, I still don't watch this because it's just to humanize and realize and personalize this particular experience is got to be. I assume it's very difficult to watch.
So let me tell you guys a couple things about it. I'll start before I read the description and say that the thing that Scott said about watching the Poseidon Adventure, that it literally changed him, happened to me when I watched Fruitvale Station. I won't say I wasn't at all an activist about things that were important to me, but it changed the way I advocated for citizen safety and safe law enforcement interaction. It moved me and changed me. I joined the Center for Police Equity. I did all sorts of stuff based on this viewing of this movie. It is very, very hard to watch. It is a fictionalized story, I will tell you. It is a fictionalized true story of the story of Oscar Grant III, a 22-year-old Bay Area resident who crosses paths with friends, enemies, family, and strangers on the last day of 2008. It also, as you can, if you are watching live, you can tell by the movie poster, was the first major studio film role for Michael B. Jordan. Mm-hmm. It is widely available to watch. I will tell you the most empathetic content warning I can make. I think everyone on earth should watch this movie. It is so hard. It is so well made. It is so motivating to make you want to be a better human, but it is hard.
It's hard.
And I won't tell you any more about it. I will say, if you ask me, no matter who you are, if I know you or you have watched this show at least once, you should watch it. It's hard.
It's very hard. The summary of this is that a young man did absolutely nothing wrong and wound up losing his very promising life because of the constructs in the American society in which we live. And as soon as I say the constructs in the American society in which we live, I know there are people listening to this right now who will be like, yeah, I don't want to watch that. Okay, bless, go with yourself. But if you want to see a side of our country that you may not be aware of, this is a good movie to watch. Remember, I haven't seen the movie. I just lived in that area when the shit went down.
Yeah, you know the story.
I lived in the area when the shit went down. It's very frustrating. And it launched. Yes, ma'am.
What you're saying is you on like your local news saw the Oscar Grant III story play out.
Correct.
Oh, it's heartbreaking.
And that's why I don't want to watch this movie, because I'm a fan of Michael B. Jordan, and this launched Michael B. Jordan's career. This was not a big budget movie, and now he is, a Marvel star.
Now,
he is
to be fair,
Rocky.
this isn't
He's a major
his first
star.
movie. He had other movies before this, but this was the one that everybody took notice, and he probably got industry standard scale pay for this, and it's an Oscar worthy it's an Oscar worthy, which we know he can do. We now know Michael B. Jordan is Michael B. Jordan, but he was back then too. But he was that guy then, and it's spectacular.
It's one of those things. There are hundreds of thousands of incredibly talented actors that can just absolutely crush a role. But every now and then, there's a motherfucker who percolates up because they whatever the it factor is, they are the guy. They are the girl. They are the they. This blew him up, and look what he's done since then. It's quite amazing.
And I'll add one more thing that sometimes there are things in our society or in the news or whatever that are lightning rod moments or lightning rod events. So this actual event happened in 2008, and this movie came out in 2013. And this was that coalescing human lightning rod moment in 2008 and in 2013. This was that coalescing human moment in 2008 when it happened in real life, and it was national news in the United States, not everywhere, and it was very localized, wildly huge.
It was a big deal in San Francisco.
And then in 2013, it was again a motivating moment. So I cannot stress enough. I wish everyone would watch this movie, and you do not want to put this on in the background at a Christmas party, so to speak. But watch it because his Michael B. Jordan's memorialization of a real human being that happened in this movie, I think anyone who loses their life unfairly, I wish they had a moment like this for the rest of their family, for their children, for their parents, to have, I understood who he could have been. And I think that is what Michael B. Jordan did with this. It must have been incredibly difficult to be this character, knowing how much of an impact that man's loss of life still impacts his family and his community. Anyway.
All right, we're going to move on now.
Happy
we're going
New
to
Year.
Yeah.
We do have one more.
One slice of New Year's Eve non-joy in the midst of all of our celebration of 10 movies that may or may not be good, but there are gems in this mix. We assure you, we have been in the mines. We've had the little hammers. We've been tapping at the rocks. We have found the gems. And what is number 9? Ready, baby?
Well, before we move,
Okay.
There's only one more left. So before we move off of Fruitvale Station, I will say that the tagline for the movie, which is on the poster, is "Every step brings you closer to the edge." And Fruitvale Station is a BART station in San Francisco, Bay Area. So that's what Fruitvale Station means. And that's what the edge means specifically in the poster and the movie. But you watch through the movie that edge being the edge of greatness. You watch that being the edge of, everything good in your life. And you watch that being the edge of the last moments of your life and things like that. And like I said, not going to dwell on it. Watch it. Don't watch it in a party.
Let's move on. Here we are. Ladies and gentlemen, we have taken you through a journey, a storytelling path in which we have woven around many important and incredibly unimportant subjects. We have graced you with the presence of people who have extenuated themselves to the absolute mastery of their craft, who have made things because they are masters that may not be the best thing they've ever done. It doesn't matter because it's about New Year's Eve. It's about New Year's Eve, a time of new beginning, a time of promises to oneself, a time of promises to others, where you somehow, because of the way our number system works, think that this year it's going to be different. And now putting this enormous amount of pressure and stress upon my wife that I adore more than anything in the entire planet. I'm assuming number 10 is a promise of greatness that will extend us throughout a new revolution around the sun. Are you ready?
I'm
darling?
Not, but I'll go.
Is that too much of a ramp up? I don't know what the next movie is.
I mean, that's why it's important, because if I knew he was going to give that intro, I would have ended with Fruitvale Station, but I didn't want to end on a difficult, such a difficult
note. Note.
I want to end on a horror thriller note.
That's it for me.
So number 10 is
Midnighters.
A movie called Midnighters. It came out in 2017. Here's the description.
Hit me.
New Year's Eve, when all hopes of new beginnings come to life, except for Lindsay and Jeff Pittman, whose strained marriage faces the ultimate test after they cover up a terrible crime and find themselves entangled in a Hitchcockian web of deceit and madness. A New Year's night becomes a long day's journey into dread for one unlucky couple in this nerve-twisting feature debut from The Walking Dead and Krypton director Julius Ramsey.
Hmm.
Now, I will tell you.
Wait, Krypton was a movie?
I think it was a TV show, but he was still the director.
It wasn't Crypto. It was Krypton. Crypto's the goddamn fucking stupid ass dog.
Yeah.
Okay, let's continue.
So that is a highfalutin, which they should do. Highfalutin elevator pitch description. Hitchcockian is a
Hitchcockian's a stretch?
Is a little bit of a stretch.
Okay.
No. This is a movie if you want, and your friends are quirky, I'll say.
Oh.
You could probably have them in the background of a New Year's Eve party or something.
I would not call this exactly a resounding endorsement. Perhaps more of a generally orbiting in the path of Venus and or Neptune endorsement. Would that be accurate?
I'm saying if you want to watch holiday movies about New Year's Eve, this is a watchable movie. This is not a thing you cannot watch. It is just going to be a thing that is not as Hitchcockian as they wanted it to be.
Okay,
and
cool.
You guys, knowing that you guys are Scott Sigler fans, will almost assuredly kind of see it unfolding. That it is watchable on Amazon Prime. It is, I think, free on Amazon Prime. It is definitely not worth your time, but go in with your expectations kind of metered and tamped down a little bit. I cannot recommend the Poseidon Adventure, the original one.
Oh my God.
Oh
my God.
Fruitvale Station, obviously. Well, I didn't mean to celebrate Fruitvale Station with balloons. Let me do that again.
No, that's right. Don't snap that out. Ladies and gentlemen listening at home, we have a problem where we are like on our way to olds, but not quite olds yet, where we do things on this live stream, which you can watch at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern every Wednesday at twitch.tv/Scott Sigler, youtube.com/Scott Sigler, or facebook.com/Scott Sigler, where occasionally my beloved and I make certain hand gestures and little things pop up on the screen that we can't figure out because we're tangentially in the olds, and we did not mean to make happy thought bubbles of thumbs up pop up while we talk about Fruitvale Station.
No.
That's what we're talking about.
And we do know how to fix it because we are an Apple family, so all of our stuff is on Apple, and I can disable it because Daryl Harris showed me how, but I did not mean to do that. I cannot recommend The Midnighters like I recommended Fruitvale Station, but it is absolutely fine to watch. It is a fun, short, easy story, and you will probably see some of what's coming, if not all of what is coming. But you know, if you have the week off between Christmas and New Year's, definitely give it a try if you'd like.
Sounds great. Well, that is 10 movies, ladies and gentlemen. There's 10 movies that happen on New Year's Eve, where New Year's Eve is relevant to the plot. And here in the world of Scott Sigler Slices and my books, we're all about plot, detailed, intricate plotting, and giving you something that you have not experienced before that also puts in the wrench time, right? The goal of what I write as a creator is I want you to finish that story. And yes, it's possible. There's a 5% chance you may have guessed where it was going, but when you finish, you're like, bitch, I should have seen that coming. He literally fucking told me everything was going to happen. That's why we talk about New Year's Eve movies that actually involve New Year's Eve as part of the plot.
Absolutely. So I will say before we wrap up, we are recording this on Christmas Eve. And Scott and I are people who work really, really hard and try to be good people all of the time, and are so grateful that we get to do this with you guys. And we get to have the life we have where Scott shares his stories and we get to hang out sometimes in person, most of the time on live streams with so many people who are living and breathing and going through the same thing that we're going through. Scott often says the currency of your life is time.
Mm-hmm.
And he absolutely loves that you are willing to share your currency of life with him, and he wants to make that worth your while. And I couldn't agree more, and we're so glad that you guys are here with us on the live stream so many years later. This Scott Sigler Slices started as Sigler in Place in March of 2020, and here we are in December of 2024, and we're still together, and we're still taking care of each other, and we're still trying to make the world a better place, and we're grateful that you're here. I will add, I had Bloody New Year on our list. It is a 1987 movie. It is unwatchable as far as I can tell right now. So I took it off the list, even though it's a horror movie. So nobody needs to email me about Bloody New Year. But
you know what? As an '80s kid, darling, there are several movies from the '80s that I laughed at with my whole chest, full-hearted laughed at, trading quotes with the boys and the girls, hanging out. But sometimes they don't. Sometimes they don't always. In the '80s, sometimes you rewatch things and you're like, how did I laugh at this? This is crazy.
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't pan out. And I can't tell you if Bloody New Year does because we can't watch it. So, anyhow.
But I will say this. As we close out shit right now, I will echo my beloved's comments in that everybody listening at home, thank you so much for spending your time with us. You'll never get this time back. Hopefully it was worth your time. Those of you watching right now, the many thousands of you watching on our live stream, we are delighted that you spent this time with us. You will not see us again until the new year. You're fantastic. We really hope you've enjoyed your time with us. That is it for this episode of Deep Cuts.
Next episode on January 1st, 2025, we'll talk.
That was just throwing the goats.
Sorry,
Steve,
I couldn't see it.
Steve, she couldn't handle me throwing the goats because she's very, very religious. Do you think?
Next episode, we'll talk reconciling character choices with author decisions. A suggestion by our friend Sean Dyer.
Sean Dyer in the chat room is a legend. And if you're listening to this at home, you also should be a legend. You should join us every fucking Wednesday.
It's
6
easy.
p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. We do this. We do it live. And that is it for us tonight, you guys. We hope you have a fantastic closeout to your 2024. And if your 2024 was not everything you wanted it to be, we genuinely hope your 2025 is better than your 2024. And now on the video, there are fireworks going off.
Because it's New Year's.
We'll let that slide. You guys are fantastic.
We'll see you on New Year's Day.
And we will, on New Year's Day, that's right. We will see you. Recluse Mage says next stream New Year's Day. Is that a Wednesday?
Yep.
Wednesday, the first day of 2025, you will be exposed to all of this sexy baldness. I will even trim my nose hairs and my ears hairs for all of you guys. And we should rock it out. We will see you soon. Good day and
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. So you guys still hanging out with too soon?
It's okay. He'll cut it.
You guys still hanging out with us live. Thanks for putting up with all of our crazy stuff. Steve, I already know how to turn this off. If you really want us to turn off all of this,
Steve,
we probably should for 2020.
We could learn how to turn it off if we wanted to.
I know how.
It's a bit of a delight. Every now one of these fucking things goes off. Plus, listen, for marketing, we're leaning into the olds. We're leaning into... Do you guys know at least 3 to 4 times a week, I have to get on fucking an iMessage call with my mom and stare at my mom, this part of my mom's face right here. I stare at this because she can't figure out how to turn
this part of your mom's face.
Yeah, sometimes it's here, sometimes here. One of the great joys in my life is now we have grandnephews that are not even 2 yet. But they love the phone. They grab at the phone, they love the phone. So we get a singular family chat, and it's literally my less than 2-year-old
grandnephew.
My less than 2-year-old grandnephew, and my mother, who both basically are showing us this part of their face, like right here. And it just fucking delights me. I don't think my nephews and nieces get it, but of course they're all perfectly framed. They understand how the business works, but it's so wonderful. We're sort of like tangentially leaning into the olds. So that's how the whole story works. There we go.
So we hope you guys who are live, none of this will be in the podcast feed. We know it is Christmas Eve. So we hope you have a very Merry Christmas. Hopefully if you were able to join us now or you hear us, we can for sure guarantee you that we're grateful that you guys were here to celebrate some Christmas with us and some New Year's with us, and we'll be here on New Year's Day.
Before we go, I'm so fucking excited. Jen Hathorn, crew member of the PV, James Keeling, just said, Uncle Squared. I have been looking for the right fucking phrase for a million fucking years. Uncle Squared, Auntie Squared. Solid. Solid. You guys
just
are great.
Get ready. As a girl who has a weirdo name, get ready for people to call you square.
Bitch, do I look square to you?
And you might.
Do I look square?
You might to your.
I actually spent most of my life being extraordinarily square. Let's be honest.
You absolutely might to your grandnephews.
Oh, I don't. They can think I'm as old. My grandnephews and grandnieces can think their grunkle is. I hope I embarrass them by being square, as every grandparent in the Sigler family has enjoyed embarrassing the grandkids by being square.
I do have to say though, when you rock the goat and I wasn't seeing and I didn't know what you did and I thought you were signaling to me, Steve Rickyberg, the iceberg, said, "Oh, A is apparently not metal enough."
She's trying, Steve. She is trying hard to be metal.
It's so good, but it's so true.
I'll tell you what, as far as band chicks go, this is the fucking empress of band chicks. Zero doubt fantastic.
I'm the worst band chick ever.
Oh my God, you're so wrong. You guys are fantastic. We love you. See you
definitely
in the
smell
new year.
a lot
Join
like
us.
flowers.
Join us for Link, for Magda. Join us for the whole crew. Dragon gonna show up. Hopefully we get some Bengals in that action. I'm not entirely sure. But it's Rob, Otto, and I, and A, are very excited for Slay Season 3.
Hey, Scott Pond.
And there's a lot of blood to be cleaned up, which is why Bengals will be back. Inappropriate Bengals is going to be doing his thing. Goodbye, guys.
We love you.